You don't need the beautiful sounds of eagles. For instance, you can just like put your own eagle impression over it, and then just be like,
What's your eagle impression?
I just did it. Wait. And then, did you see that? They just came down from the forest.
Oh
Oh,
my.
you just missed it. But you said hello.
I am from this area here. It is the ancestral home of the Tlaoquet. Tlaoquet just means different people of Kennedy Lake.
And what brought you to Tofino?
Well, go west, young man. Everybody said, west is best. So I took a course on sea kayaking 40 years ago this summer, yeah. And our first outing was to Tofino.
And how long have you been in Tofino?
I've been in Tofino 25 years.
Coming up to 2 years, just over 18 months.
And how long have your people been here, you think?
Well, about 400 or 500 years or so. But we're on the village of Hopitsit. Hopitsit is one of the oldest villages on Vancouver Island. And people have been living on that site for maybe 10,000 years or so. I grew up with my father, and at the time when I was very young, he did not leave me a choice to go or not hunting, fishing, trapping, or canoe building.
And what did you love about it?
Well, the wildness. You just feel the vibrancy. People talk about it as magic.
So one of the initial attractions of moving here was the surf. But the thing that made me want to stay was the community.
Tofino, when I was very young, my brother and I had a window that overlooked the water from Hopitsit to Tofino here. At the time, there were only 3 visible lights.
What was the population?
I don't know, maybe 150 or 200 people in Tofino at the time.
As a business owner, have you seen an expansion in tourism?
Yes.
Adventure tourism?
Yeah.
Do you think Tofino could be a model for sustainability?
Yeah, I do. I think that Tofino is a model for environmental protection in Canada. And we have, in many ways, Tofino and Clayoquot, those words are synonymous with peaceful protest.
I think on a grand scale, yes. But at the same time, the mess that logging companies leave behind to this day is atrocious.
And I think that if forest companies want to continue working here, they have to manage the second growth.
Bonnie and I were really involved in the mass logging blockades of the early 90s. So 25 years ago this summer.
How did it work?
Well, our people decided that we did not want the forest company to log the island that we live on, because we have no treaty with any government that says this land belongs to anybody else, it's ours.
And it was the biggest act of civil disobedience in Canadian history, where almost 1,000 people were arrested. Right now, our main focus is on wild salmon and protecting wild salmon.
What can we control here to save more of the environment?
Fish farming.
The solution to that problem, what we're working to do is to get salmon farms out of the ocean.
The Ox-Swiss warriors, they were called, they stopped the fish farm that was being put in, and they said, no, you cannot put this in the water.
And did it work?
It worked. The fish farm never got put in. These are open net pen salmon farms. The diseases is the really big problem.
Do you think we can expand on protection?
Yeah, even here, forestry or fish farming or mining, or even tourism, when you look at it.
Yeah. Would you say that there could be a future to create certain infrastructures to exactly promote sustainable systems?
We facilitate 1 million people a year in the tourism realm, 15 to 20,000 people for transit, like workers, and are still only a community, a tax-based community of, you could call it 3,000 people. Mm-hmm. So you're trying to do a lot on a very, very small tax base.
It's kind of a self-selecting community in some ways. To stay here, I think it takes a certain amount of commitment. It's hard to find somewhere to live.
But I think that, in a way with tourism here, people coming here can be a huge part of learning for people from other parts of the world that they can use as an example, maybe in their own homeland.
As Tofino is expanding, new visitors that are coming in, what's the most efficient way you think we can educate them?
The best way is for them to go visit the indigenous peoples here and see the land through our eyes, not through a tour operator.
You know, and then when I look at the way people are behaving when they get out in the backcountry, you know, most people I'd say are going with some kind of a guide, some kind of a guided trip. And actually, I think that's a good thing because the guides have a long-term interest in keeping the place protected.
I feel like a visitor to Tofino, the way that they can access kind of First Nations knowledge, go out with Tashi Paddle School, for example, and listen to First Nations stories. I feel like it's tricky. It's such a sensitive discussion for a lot of people.
Is there educational systems in place to facilitate that? Or could
Not really, not the way I would like to see it done.
how would you
Because,
like to see it?
Well, it's exactly the way my father brought me up. Get ready, we're going hunting, fishing, crafting, or canoe building.
Oftentimes in other parts of Canada, First Nations communities are sort of out of sight, out of mind. There's a lot of First Nations in Tofino, and I think that's a great thing. And I think because of that, First Nations kind of culture and beliefs are a huge part of our community here in Tofino.
What do you need to be happy, personally?
I'm not as much a people person, like we live on a remote island and I go to be alone in nature to find my solace. So finding time to be alone in nature and just to connect with a much bigger world than the human world.
To be able to go out into the forests and enjoy what is there, what's left of it.
I'm happy where I am. Happy I've got a good job, great crew around me.
I think there's a very close community here in Tofino, and so yeah, it's happy. It makes me happy to come back here and be here. However, we still have to deal with the forest companies, mining companies, and the fish farmers. So anyway, so that's what I have.
Thank you, Joe. And
Sawista literally means clubbed to death.
yeah, I'm gonna be editing this. It doesn't
Do a
matter.
clap, so you got that for sound syncing?
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna edit this. Okay, cool. Awesome. All right. So 1, 2, 3.
Nonsense Padre and Spiritum Sancti Amen and Trubidum Dali Dei and blah 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 blah.